Whoever books the musicians over at Riot Games needs a serious raise, because this year the band behind the world's anthem is none other than Linkin Park. Their track, titled Heavy is the Crown, is set to drop tomorrow at 8 AM Pacific time, but lucky us, Linkin Park have already played it live. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be competing for Best League of Legends Anthem. That's no easy task either, considering we've had some absolute bops. Warriors by Imagine Dragons never fails to get the blood pumping. Legends Never Die by Against the Current is hype as hell. Plus, you've got the unofficial GOAT, that is Silver Scrapes. Circling back to Heavy is the Crown though, and Linkin Park fans will be pleased to hear that it is incredibly reminiscent of the Meteora days. It opens with a synthy riff, Mike Shinoda comes charging in with some rap verses, and it has that signature anthemic chorus. The bridge goes hard too, straight up taking the recipe of Given Up with a long scream accompanied by a mean breakdown. It's pretty snappy too, wrapping up in under 3 minutes, but other than that, I think it's hard to deny it's a match made in heaven for a world's anthem. They'll be performing the song at the event at the O2 in London in early November, and it will also feature in the second season of Arcane. It's also not a surprising choice. League of Legends and Linkin Park have history. The band has a venture capital firm that invested in the esports team Immortals back when they competed in the LCS, and Mike Shinoda also dropped by the global premiere of Arcane. But obviously, we need to address the elephant in the room. This is a song without the iconic vocals of Chester Bennington, who tragically died of suicide in 2017. And for the recent reunion of the band and the resulting new album, they've recruited a new vocalist in the form of Emily Armstrong. And this is where things get a bit sticky. There's a good chunk of people who are straight up uncomfortable with the idea of Linkin Park getting back together. Chester was a fundamental part of the band and was one of the best vocalists of his generation. He was also someone who expressed a deep vulnerability within his music, and that's something that really resonated with people. Combine that with the circumstances of his death, and a reunion was always going to be a hard pill to swallow. Others, like myself, felt more open to the idea. As much as it hurt to know it wouldn't be Chester singing, he wasn't the only songwriting force within the band and was one of the last members to join. And look, albums like Hybrid Theory and Meteora shaped my childhood. Nothing will change that. Would I prefer Chester? Without a doubt, but I felt I'm not gonna let grief deprive me of potentially great music. It will be strange at first and it will always be different, but that's okay. And so I tuned into that stream like many others, and look, music is subjective, but as a vocalist myself, for me, Emily Armstrong is a incredible singer. She has a natural, gritty distortion to her voice that fits fantastically with that anthemic nu metal sound, and she clearly has masterful control over it. Let's be clear, Linkin Park songs are ridiculously hard to sing. The range, vocal techniques, and sustained intensity that their songs require are insane. I don't think people who aren't vocalists realize just how difficult they are. And I'm not gonna bother comparing her to Chester. That man was one of a kind. Again, it will never be the same, but maybe that's okay. It did also suck that only 3 of the original lineup would be touring, but their first new song, The Emptiness Machine, clearly showed that the songwriting prowess of Linkin Park hadn't gone anywhere. But, and there is a huge, massive but, it very quickly came out that there was some controversy surrounding Emily Armstrong. 1, she is a Scientologist, and 2, she was friends with convicted rapist, actor, and fellow Scientologist Danny Masterson. If you know anything about Scientology, then you'll know that it's considered a cult rife with allegations of the most despicable crimes against humanity, such as abuse, kidnapping, and even child slavery. I don't have time to dive into that absolute can of worms in this video, but there's been ex-Scientologist creators that have provided some super useful insight and context on the situation, so I do recommend checking them out. But the summary is that Emily was born into Scientology, and her parents are alleged to have involvement with the Office of Special Affairs, which is essentially the department that punishes former members as part of their fair game policy. Ultimately, there's just a lot that we don't know. Emily did post a statement kind of addressing the situation, but she didn't even name Danny Masterson or Scientology. In fact, when you read into it, she really doesn't say anything at all, but doing so might be dangerous for her or her family. Again, we just don't really know. It's a complicated ethical minefield, and I just hate it. I straight up hate that we even have to talk about this when I just want to enjoy Linkin Park's new music. Right now, I don't really feel like I can, especially in the context of Chester's death. I'm still torn about the whole situation. I think the concept of separating the art from the artist is a spectrum, and where you place that line is a personal choice. But I think it's important that Linkin Park fans, and now by extension League fans, have that information so they can make informed decisions of their own. The recorded version of Heavy is the Crown will drop tomorrow. It's a great song, and I'm sure Riot will make a stunning video to go alongside it. I'm kind of envious of those who either don't know or just don't care about all that other stuff and can just enjoy it for what it is. And I'm curious what you think. Does the song get you hyped for Worlds? Was Linkin Park a good choice for Riot? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. We're a small channel, so please hit subscribe to help us out, and as always, thanks for watching.